Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's featured webinar, A Tool to Attract and Retain Employees and Review of the 2023 New York State Mandate, presented by Wells Fargo Bank. Today's speakers are James Alprin, Financial Advisor for Wells Fargo Advisors, Lee Compson, Regional Vice President for Total Retirement Solutions, CUNA Mutual Group. Lee is the Vice President of CUNA Mutual's Total Retirement Solutions for New York. He partners with retirement consultants to help businesses maximize retirement benefits. James and Lee, thank you for putting this presentation together. I'm sure you have a lot of valuable information to share with all of us. So now I will turn this program over to both of you.
Hi, thanks, Amanda. This is James Alprin. I work for the Voyage Group at Wells Fargo, and we are a group that is put together to help small to medium-sized businesses with almost any of their questions regarding finance. So we can help from opening a bank account to getting a mortgage to getting a portfolio of mortgages, any kind of lending that you can think of. And one of the biggest things that we do is help small and medium-sized businesses with their benefit plans. And of course, that also encounters your retirement plan. Just so everybody knows out there, New York State has passed a law that in 2023, any group, any employer that has more than 10 people in their group or in their employ, including part-time people, will need to have a retirement plan. So Lee and I have seen a lot of people coming and asking questions, so we thought this would be a good opportunity to bring it to the BCW. Lee is with CUNA Mutual. That is one of the providers. Wells Fargo does not have a plan, so we are totally agnostic to who you use. We're just here to do the guiding and help you pick. I'm going to allow Lee to take it from here and explain what CUNA is and what CUNA does and why they're one of the best providers of retirement planning out there and one of our top providers and why we use them quite often. So Lee, please take it away.
Thanks, James. Good morning, everyone. And to give you an idea, as James calls us a provider, one of the biggest providers in my world of setting up retirement plans for businesses and organizations is Fidelity. You probably all recognize the name Fidelity. So CUNA does the same thing for small and medium-sized businesses. That Fidelity focuses on Fortune 100 companies. Fidelity likes to have clients like ExxonMobil and Lockheed Martin, plans that have $50 billion in them and 50,000 to 100,000 employees. We bring that down to the small market. And much like James and his team being agnostic, CUNA is agnostic too. We're an open architecture provider of investments, so it gives James and his team the ability to build whatever type fits your business, because I don't feel that a manufacturing firm with 200 people, a law firm with 3 partners and 25 employees, and a nonprofit all need the same retirement plan. Some of our bigger competitors have a box and they say everybody fits in the box. I'm basically a canvas, a blank canvas, and James and his team will work with you to create the art and set up the appropriate benefit package for your team. I do want to highlight, as James said, one of the things his team focuses on is the benefit and retirement plans. I was just at an industry event recently, and it was said that 6% of financial advisors in the country have the expertise and knowledge in the retirement plan space. There's a lot of ERISA laws, there's a lot of moving parts. I think it's very practical and necessary if you're looking to maximize your retirement program, to work with a team that focuses in that space. The 94% of the other financial advisors, they can help you with retirement plans. There's a lot of moving parts. Perfect case example, a 72-person electrical contracting company that we are working on right now. They currently have 3 retirement plans. They have a 401k plan for employee deferrals. They have a profit sharing plan, and they have a prevailing wage plan. And when you have 3 plans, you have 3 expenses. You have a lot of redundancy. You have an office manager that needs to manage 3 plans. You have 3 plans that you have to file the 5,500 tax filing for. So there's a lot of redundancies in work and expenses. We're taking that plan, making it 1 plan with 3 different money sources and simplifying the work for the HR and office admin staff. So that's just one reason why. You may say, so the owner of that contracting company, he just acquired the company within the last year and he's now looking at it. And he asked the question in the meeting to myself, why did we set it up like this originally? Well, we didn't set it up with you. The previous owner, you know, his country club buddy was his financial advisor. And there's nothing wrong with what they did, but it's antiquated. There's a lot of fiduciary exposure because the prevailing wage and profit share money are in one bucket of mutual funds. That means their 65-year-old employees and their 25-year-old employees are invested in the same manner. And that's a fiduciary exposure for you as a business owner. So I think it's important to work with retirement consulting teams that specialize in that, like the Voyage Group, when you're looking at your retirement benefits package. Now, when James and I first started planning for this event back in early summer, New York State told us that the mandate was going to be live and running. It's the New York Secure Choice Savings Program. As James said, here's what we know. If you have 10 or more employees, you're going to be mandated to have a retirement plan. What I do know, we just met with an ERISA attorney in Buffalo on the topic Monday. New York State has not even issued an RFP, a request for proposal, to decide who the vendor of the program is going to be. That being said, although the legislation is passed to put the secure savings program into place, it's probably not going to be live and running for, let's call it minimum 6 to 12 months, because that request for proposal process, as you know, is probably going to take some time. So keep your eyes on it. That kind of derails the topic of what was supposed to be live and up and running, but we've got a little bit different content of headline news. What we do know also, the New York mandate program will be an auto-enroll IRA. The contribution limits as set forth by our government and an IRA is $6,000 annually. You're going to be required to do something. You can go into the state mandate program and your employees will then have the ability to defer $6,000 from their paychecks. If you work with James and his team, maybe a 401k plan, maybe a 403b plan, more appropriate. The limits in that for your employees, $20,500. So you can see there's already the ability to save more than 3 times as much in a program that you set up on your own. So it's worth looking into. Something else that's very much so in the headlines, and I think is very timely to talk about. Pulling up my presentation here. I want to talk about retaining key employees. We hear about it all the time. If you're on social media, the Great Resignation, employee competition by employers is fierce. Employees can now change jobs, demand high pay scale, and they don't have to relocate. They don't have to lengthen their commute. Most of us are working at least a portion of our time virtually. So key employee retention is top of mind. And this works in two, hold on here. It's like, you can see over the last decade, and this is from a compensation research company called PayScale, that talent retention is a major concern, and we know that's front of mind for you now. So we're going to kind of expand on the benefits discussion, since old New York State's mandate isn't up and running yet, and that's not live for us to speak to. We'll talk about the benefits pyramid. You've got your workers' comp, your Social Security that you're all required to have. This middle portion of the pyramid, many of you offer health, medical benefits, 401k or 403b plans. But for the next 10, 15 minutes, we're going to talk about executive benefits, non-qual deferred comp. Now, most people think non-qual deferred comp, it's kind of stereotyped as, well, that's for executives and big Fortune 500 companies. What does non-qual deferred comp have to do with us down here in Main Street America? And that's what I kind of want to go over and expose you to at a high level. Qualified plans have limits on them for savings, as I just talked about. The IRA, 6,000, the 401k, 403b, 20,500. So if you design or offer a qualified plan, there's limits on what your employees can defer. Qualified plans are also non-discriminatory. You have to offer them to all your employees. You can't weigh them in favor of key employees. You can't weigh them in favor of highly compensated employees. We live in the Northeast. It's expensive to live in this corner of the country, and hence our salaries reflect that. You don't say, the government doesn't say, if you live in Kansas, the limit's 20,500. If you live in New York, the limit's 40,500. When an individual sits down with a financial advisor and does financial planning, generally, we have to replace 70 to 80% of our working year's income to live comparably in retirement. And this chart shows right here that as we start getting into the mid 100s for salary, we're having a gap because of the limitations that the qualified plan deferrals put on your employees. We're having limitations of what can be put back. So a sales manager in Wichita, Kansas that makes $125,000 and defers that $20,500, well, you can see between Social Security and 401k deferrals, they can replace that 70 to 80%. We're not in Wichita, Kansas. So here in New York, that same sales manager may be earning $250,000. And you can see the Social Security and 401k deferrals get them less than 50% of income replacement. So that's what we're talking about now. And we're talking about replacing that gap with the top of that benefits pyramid I showed, a non-qual deferred compensation plan. CUNA is here to help, along with the Voyage Group, set it up, design, make sure it stays compliant. The nice thing is it's a fierce labor market right now, especially for those key employees. You want to retain key employees. You don't want them to walk across the street to your competitor for a $10,000 raise. A reward. We can actually put parameters in a non-qual deferred compensation plan for them to get that deferred compensation. Work parameters, bonuses that don't have to be paid out in cash. So there's potential for retention from the company, and to recruit key employees, to recruit new leadership to your team. Here's some things to get your wheels turning. If you have highly HCEs or highly compensated employees, if you have highly compensated employees, owners, partners that are wanting to save more than they can through the qualified plans, retaining vital people, mission critical employees, business succession, both partners and family succession. Non-qual can be used for planning in that. And if you're looking at safe harbor, profit sharing, cash balance designs, those are options we have in the 401k world. The problem is, again, in the 401k world, we can't discriminate. So if we put a profit share on the 401k, sometimes that costs the business a lot of money because you have to give a profit share to everybody. You can't just pick who you want to give a profit share to. When you layer a non-qual deferred comp plan on top of the 401k, well, you can discriminate. Non-qual deferred comp plans are not ERISA plans the way 401k and 403bs are. So if you currently have a qualified plan and some of your highly compensated employees are getting refunds, corrective distributions, and of course they come right around the holiday time and now they're taxable income. If you're failing your testing, or you have turnover in your executive team, or you want to attract new executives. It might be something to talk to James and team about a non-qual plan. Here's
Hey,
a
Lee.
few. Yeah, James.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to interrupt for a second. Lee is doing a terrific job, but it can get confusing. What I want everybody out there to understand is there are multiple ways of helping your employees. And all you need to do is contact us. There's no charge to talk to us. We don't have any fees like attorneys or doctors. We'll spend hours talking to you and designing the right plan. So if you have any questions after this, please, I'm going to let Lee continue, but don't get fogged over by the details here. The message is there are many, many ways to do this, and we're here to help. Thanks.
I was trying to keep it high level, but it's tough.
It is. It's complicated stuff, and I think that's what keeps people away from it, and they shouldn't be away from it, because it's saving in a plan like this is the best way to save for retirement, bar none. And it's a great retention and attraction tool for employees, and it's really not that complicated when you're working with somebody who knows what they're doing. So that's why we're here.
Here's a few. I mean, think of brokerages and mortgage companies where you've got highly paid salespeople. I mentioned earlier some of the succession planning, whether it be within a family or within junior partners. A law firm, you don't want to see a partner walk away and take a portion of the revenue and go start their own firm. And nonprofits, an additional way to save more than what the 403B opportunity may give. I do a lot of 457B and 403B combos with nonprofits. CUNA does a lot of work with nonprofits, and I know James and his team do as well. And again, I think one of my big advantages in that nonprofit world is that I'm that blank canvas that allows James to design what is most appropriate for your organization. A lot of my competitors in the 403B nonprofit space do 403B plans, but they'll say you have to utilize our investments within that as well. So they kind of hamstring James and you in designing. Here's a couple of practical examples to try to help you digest. Sam sat down with James and they've decided he needs to save 15% of his salary, which is $190,000 to hit that. They've calculated he needs 77% income replacement in retirement. Well, again, we don't have geographic differences in the caps that he can defer. The government says no matter where you live, Sam can only defer $20,500. So that's 11% of his salary. We layer a non-qual deferred comp on top of the 401k plan. He makes up that additional deferral amount, has the benefit of, just like a 401k plan, pre-tax savings for his current taxation. And we set up the non-qual. We can set it up as simply as having the same exact investment menu options as the 401k and the 403b. When an employee of yours logs in to check their 401k balance on the CUNA Benefits for You website, if they also participate in a 401k, they have access to managing both their plans right there. So again, as James said, we're trying to make it easy, simple, and streamlined. I do a lot of non-qual in the restaurant business, in the brewery business. The breweries are popping up everywhere. Restaurants have a lot. These are businesses that have a lot of turnover, a lot of low income earners, a lot of turnover, a lot of cash that's not reported. So it makes it very difficult to have a 401k plan that can benefit some of the key people. In this example, we're going to go with the example because everything in our industry is compliance, but Bob wants to keep Frank, his talented sous chef, around. He doesn't want to give away ownership, but he wants to incent based on performance. Well, in order to incent Frank, he can put together a non-qual plan that's just for Frank, because again, in non-qual plans, we can discriminate. If he wanted to try to get a profit share or an incentive into Frank through a profit share in the 401k plan, well, then he'd have to give all the employees at least something through the profit share. So he avoids the expense of having to give profit share to employees that their average tenure is 12 to 15 months of turnover. Finally, I actually just set one up very similar to this. There was a PNC company. The owner and the wife were ready to go to Florida. The wife was worried that, the husband was going to not go and enjoy retirement. They're passing the business on to the daughter. There were two longtime employees. We'll use Lee and James as the example. Lee had been there 22 years. James had been there 18 years. The fear for the husband and wife is they go enjoy retirement. They leave their daughter to practice. Lee and James say, she doesn't deserve this. We helped them build it. We go put our own flag in the street across the street, and we take 50, 60, how many ever percent of the clientele with us. Now the daughter hasn't been left with what the husband and wife built over those years. So we set up called golden handcuffs in the corporate world, 3-year retention bonus, let the daughter get more front and center with the clients, get more of that retention. But also there were some revenue targets that were put in to earn that 3-year bonus, just to make sure James and I didn't go to the office in our hands, not help the daughter transition into successfully running the business. So those are 3 practical examples that are used frequently. This is where you call James and you tell him your needs and you start talking about things, and then you work with our design team and James' team, and we put together a roadmap on paper of what your specific needs are. Again, CUNA is very hands-on. I'm very analytical. My role is technically a salesperson. I couldn't sell just regular widgets and things that tell you how great they are. What I do like about selling in this world is everything is different. Again, I said earlier, your organization may not have the same retirement plan needs as this organization, nor this. There's a lot that can go behind to make it the most efficient. This talks about benefiting key employees and owners, but we're also very in tune with trying to benefit your employees and educate your employees about what the basic benefits that you've provided for them are. And we do that in conjunction with teams like the Voyage Group. Got to leave this up. I know this is being recorded, so I have to show that I put the compliance slide up, but that's really all I had. I just wanted to give an introduction to it and say, hey, reach out to James' team and see if what you have set up is appropriate, or if you need to set something up, or if there's a way to make it more efficient.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you. I guess this is the end. If anybody has any questions, please feel free. Amanda, are there any questions?
There are not any questions right now, but I'm sure we'll get some email to us too. So Lee, if you can enter your information in the chat box or in the Q&A. James, do you want to provide your phone number to us?
Sure. Lee, if you want to type it in, that would be terrific. The phone number is 917-697-1581. And you can talk to Lee. Lee will move you to me as well. And we want to thank everybody for attending. Thank you, BCW, for having us. And really, at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways to accomplish this. It's a great thing to have, and please just call us and we'll help you design it.
James.
Thanks.
Thank
James,
you,
give me that number one more time. I'm sorry.
917.
Yep.
697-1581.
Thank you, Lee and James, for this great presentation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. If you would like to reach out to Lee and James, please check the Q&A or the chat box for their information, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.